Hello and welcome back to the channel. So today I'm going to take you through a very basic kind of strength routine you can do at home. This in particular is the kind of strength routine I was doing on my hard days during the marathon training block. So this would usually be in between my big sessions on a Tuesday, where I would do a double threshold based session geared towards the marathon. So the main goal of these sessions was to get a bit of strength stimulus there without being too tiring. So I was able to perform well in the second session. So really just this whole kind of strength workout is kind of very simple. Can do at home for the most part. You use some equipment, but you can get around that. But the main goal here is injury prevention, just to maintain that kind of basic strength. So nothing too taxing on the body. So to kind of kickstart off these exercises then, as you can see, I'm just doing some simple Bulgarian split squats, just with a kettlebell, fairly light for me, and just really focus on going down as far as I can and then coming up explosively, just to get kind of that explosiveness in the legs. And then after this exercise, we will move on to our next set of exercise, which is, I got the mat out here just to kind of help because the ground's pretty cold and the ground's pretty dirty. So just doing some very simple press-ups. Now, you can critique my press-up form down in the comments below if you want to. But yeah, just very simple basic stuff. Basically going down until I basically hit my nose on the floor or my chest. Now, press-ups, just always a good basic upper body exercise to do. So after this, we move on to the next exercise, which is just simply, I grab the bench and just be sitting down on a single leg. So single leg squat. So goal here is to just make sure you're lowering yourself down and just kind of touching the seat. You want to make sure it's a very controlled movement. So I've been struggling a little bit with patellar tendonitis on my left side. So this has been one of those exercises to kind of help strengthen up that patellar tendon for me. And it's a great single leg exercise, very specific for me. Now, next exercise we have, very simply, we're just doing some kettlebell swings. These aren't really too taxing for me because I can't find a weight big enough that I own. But this is just a very simple kind of engage the glutes, engage the core kind of exercise. So very, very simple. Now I probably could go down lower here, but yeah, it's fine for now. Now, the next exercise, I'm going to get the mat out again because we're moving on to some Russian twists. So just going to grab this case the 8 kilogram weight here. I'm just going to swing it side to side, making sure just gently touch the weight on the floor and keep our heels off the floor and just basically just sit down on the floor and just lean back, alternating side to side. Again, this is a very good core exercise specifically for your obliques. So moving on to our next exercise, as I just checked what I had on my list of exercises. We have the single leg deadlift with the kettlebell. So this is a good exercise. You can see here I'm struggling to hold my balance at times. So it's a good exercise for your balance. Street flies are probably not the best shoes for this. They're not the most stable underfoot for lifting with a very soft midsole. But yeah, so here all I'm doing is simply just going down, a very good exercise on the hamstrings, and then pushing the weight up above my head. So this is a very challenging movement. I would suggest starting without a weight and working your way up to it. You should go and try and be as straight as possible. I don't have the flexibility in kind of my hips and hamstrings to really kind of keep straight legs and straight backs. But this is a very good exercise. You can probably see here I'm a little bit unstable on this side and a little bit rounded in my hips. So that's something that I need to continue working on. Okay, so next exercise we're going to get some very basic plyometrics done. We're going to do some rocking jumps. So just simply sit down. You can do this on a sofa too. Just rock back and then as far as you can, and then just come forward and jump as high as you can. It's a very good exercise for getting some basic plyometrics in. Now, the next exercise is another plyometric exercise. So this we're just going to be hopping and then jumping over a small hurdle. So, very simple this one. This is just a little bit more of a progression from the rocker jumps here. And again, it develops that reactivity and responsiveness off the ground. That's very key for having that pop in your stride and to running faster. So all the exercises you just saw, I would have done all of them in a set 2 more times. So now we're just going to be moving on to some plank and some core work. So this specific routine, I hold a plank for 30 seconds and then do some flutter kicks for 30 seconds and keep repeating until I've gone through the full cycle of planks. So going from normal plank position to press up plank position to side plank positions on both sides, and then last but not least the back plank position. So that all in all takes about 5 minutes to do. So this kind of core routine takes inspiration from kind of the core routine we did when I was at USF. We did, and yeah, this is a great core routine, and I definitely think it helps build a strong core. So when I'm doing the flutter kicks, I like to alternate. Instead of just going up and down all the time, I like to go from side to side after every second plank. So I end up doing, I think, two or three front flutter kicks and 2 side flutter kicks. Now, when you're doing the side plank, you can also make this more of a progression by, instead of having both feet together, you can separate your feet apart to form an X kind of position, as you can see here, coming up. And this is kind of makes it a little bit harder on the core and can be quite hard to balance. So it's always a good exercise for developing these kind of core muscles. And so we're nearly approaching the end of this little section of the core routine now. So when we move on to the back plank position here, you want to kind of just squeeze your glutes and try and get your hips as high as you possibly can. And this just engages more of your glutes and hamstrings and just makes it a little bit better of an exercise to do. And then after this last set of flutter clicks, that's the first 5-minute section done of the core. So then we'll just move on to the next exercises. So we will now move on to the dead bugs when I kind of compose myself. So the dead bugs are going to do making sure here that we try and keep things opposite arm, opposite leg, goes forward and back. And again, we'll just do this front and back, so we develop. So we want to make sure that we do both the front and reverse dead bugs, so we can work both sides of our core. Since the core, after all, doesn't just only involve the abs, it involves all the stuff around our core region, so that's our hips, our glutes, and our lower back, as well as our obliques. So the next exercise we're doing are some fire hydrants, and we're going to set this with some leg extensions to the side. Now this just helps develop just that coordination and that mobility around the hip. Since that hip strength and mobility is very important for us runners in order to run faster for longer with less effort. So next exercise, just some simple glute bridges. We're just going to be doing 10 sets normal, and then we can do some single leg and some walkouts. Again, just working those muscles, working those glute muscles and those hamstrings. And this is a very good exercise for us runners because it also helps stretch out your hip flexors as well as engaging your glutes, which we can get very tight from sitting down a lot with the glute bridges. Next exercise, again, hip mobility one. Do some 90-90 hip stretches. So this is a very good movement and one that I do quite often because I am pretty tight around the hips and I struggle with this one sometimes. Okay, so now we're moving on to side plank position into clamshells. So we just start with normal and then we go to reverse clamshells. Again, just developing our core, and specifically our glutes and hips. Very, very important we do this kind of work. It's not core, it's just not ab work. And by doing both forward and reverse, we can target both areas, or both key areas of the glutes that will be involved in that multiple movement. Next one, we're just going to do some V-ups. Now this is a very good ab exercise to do at home. Working those core muscles a lot. And then set this with kind of the reverse of that exercise, kind of some fish out of water, as I like to call them, and some Supermans if you want to make this harder by moving your arms above your head. So I'm lacking a little bit of flexibility in my lower back, so I could probably definitely improve that there. And now moving on to kind of the final two exercises. So just going to do some leg swings from side to side. Now this is just a very good one for just kind of your lower back as well as your obliques, and it's always good to get some rotational movement in, since when we run we do get quite a lot of rotational forces going through our core in particular. So it's very good to strengthen those areas. And now obviously do the reverse of this exercise. I'm going to do some scorpion kicks. This one always feels very nice to do at the end of the session. Just stretch out your quads, hip flexors and your hips. And yeah, it just feels very nice to do. So yeah, that's all the core. I only do one set of each of these core exercises, but I will do 2 to 3 sets of the other exercises before this core routine started. So a whole routine should take no more than 45 minutes. So that's it for the at-home strength and core routine. I hope you've enjoyed, and I will see you in the next one.